Hi, I'm Indy. I'm email marketing lead at Blockchain.com, and I'm here today to talk about personalization and how I've implemented personalization techniques that I've learned at bigger organizations to Blockchain.com's growing CRM efforts. So first off, a little bit about me. I joined Blockchain.com in late 2020 after working on CRM, growth, product, and performance marketing at various financial startups and challenger banks here in the UK. I've been dreaming of working in crypto since I was at university, and I fully believe there's a huge potential change that new tech can bring to the financial services industry. It's my goal to only work with products and people and companies that are changing the way money works to include everyone and serve those who need it most. I've worked in high growth startups that went from having to do everything ourselves to having all the tech resources and tools that we could ever hope for basically overnight. I've joined Blockchain.com to help scale their email program through this period of high growth. Right now, we're a really lean team, but with just me and like a little bit of Iterable magic, I've been able to greatly improve our top client open and click-through rates in 6 short months, mainly through personalization and segmentation. Blockchain.com was one of the first names in the crypto space. We're here to bring crypto to everyone, making buying, holding, and transacting crypto something anyone can do, not just those who have like super advanced financial knowledge or an engineering background. Today, we're the world's most trusted platform for transacting in crypto, with over 69 million wallets and more than $800 billion in transactions, offering some of the most established and widely used ways to invest in cryptocurrency for tens of millions of customers in nearly 200 countries. We offer a single platform experience, which means we have a super fast exchange, a built-in wallet, interest accounts, a block explorer, as well as a bespoke client services business to service institutional investors and some crypto native businesses. Okay, so delving into personalization. Personalization is a normal part of all marketing now. We've come to expect targeted communications from our big and small brands alike. We give up a lot of our data when we use products as customers. So as marketers and product owners on the other side, we're expected to use that data and do the heavy lifting to show our users the things that are relevant to them, but not show them the things that aren't. This extends to email, and this kind of like send to all newsletters just aren't going to cut it anymore. My favorite clothing brand knows that I'm a woman in my 20s. I wouldn't expect them to be sending me emails about trends for preteen boys. As a general structure in this chat, we're going to look at some examples of in-content and journey personalizations to understand exactly what we're trying to get to. And then I'll share some statistics on how personalization has improved the email metrics that I've employed it in. And then I'm also going to work through some ways that we're currently using personalization at Blockchain.com to improve our email marketing strategy. Some of the challenges it's helped us overcome as well. When I'm speaking about personalization, it's really a two-stemmed thing. So you're personalizing the content and you're also personalizing the journey. So in content personalization, that's things like adding the user's name, changing the copy slightly on where they live, changing the colors based on how they might have interacted on your site. And this is a great place to begin with personalization, and it offers fantastic testing opportunities to really make a difference in top of funnel metrics. But personalizing the journey is about taking a more personalized marketing approach. It's about whether we send a message to them at all. We should only really be contacting people who want to hear from us. And nailing personalization and segmentation is about serving the right message to the right person at the right time via the right channel. It's moving away from this like, tell our entire list that we just launched a new product to which customers actually need to hear about this new product. Dream personalization is like a whole thing. It's a whole strategy. We're taking into account all the data you collect on a user. So like the content they engage in, what their friends like, what they like, information on where they are, what they've done in your product. And you combine it all to make intelligent decisions about the kind of content you serve them and the actions you ask them to take. It's a hyper relevant message that is speaking directly to them. Most importantly, gold-class personalization is not just about improving the performance of a one-off campaign. It is a unified, cross-channel, personalized way of marketing. It's not a small tactic you employ just to get a higher open rate. These kind of world-class journey personalizations, there's some fantastic examples, but I think the best thing that I've seen is abandoned baskets. These are widely known as some of the most successful email marketing campaigns. But you can really go a step further. It's not just about what the customer left behind, it's about what they should do next. I love these emails from this beauty brand look fantastic because they're explicit, they're making this recommendation for me. They're smart about it, but it doesn't need to be this like hyper smart machine learning model. At ClearScore, we employed really intelligent AI to figure out what credit card was right for you. You don't need to do that. Like look fantastic have basically figured out that I bought the Moroccan oil shampoo and they're going to recommend the Moroccan oil conditioner. It's just the next best product, but they're framing it in a way that is personalized. That said, there's plenty of clever ways to employ personalization within the content to really improve individual campaign performance. So if you've got about a millisecond to capture your customer's attention, personalization can keep them a little bit longer or maybe make them look twice. So this email from a jewelry brand shows image personalization. They change the headline and the top image depending on the user's name. OpenTable, Trustpilot, TripAdvisor, those kind of companies do this really well as well. They're pulling in little bits of how you've interacted on site, the restaurant that you've been looking at, into their email. So both of those two previous slides are how we as customers have experienced personalization. I'm going to go into some of the personalization techniques that I've implemented and the impact they've had on our open and click-through rates of recent email campaigns. I can't share anything overly detailed, but I can give you a really good feel for how even small personalizations can have a massive impact on your campaign performance. Okay, so targeted beating blast. To keep our email marketing team lean, I strive for the majority of our communications to be targeted and part of a personalized automated journey. One-off emails that typically employ this like spray and pray method, where we're just shouting about what we think is important, it's not relevant to the specific users. These targeted campaigns consistently outperform on top of funnel metrics like clicks and opens, but also on down the funnel conversion. They're focused on sending the right message at the right time, and they're not just treating email as a lever that we can just pull when we need it. Since starting to build these campaigns into Blockchain.com's email marketing efforts, we've seen open rates double the previous blast campaigns, and click-through rates as much as 10 percentage points higher. However, we're actually sending significantly less emails. We're focusing on sending to users who want to hear from us when we can offer valuable content that is relevant to them. This slide tells you the real benefit of personalization. It's increased conversions with less volume. Like sending more is just not better. I understand that while as marketers, you probably understand this as well as the benefits of personalization, but it can be difficult to get buy-in from others on these targeted personalized campaigns. In a previous role, I presented this like month-on-month of email performance for a car insurance vertical where we'd sent around 12 million less emails, but we got hundreds of thousands of more clicks, increased conversion rates, and more revenue. And I was like super excited about this. And then at the end of the meeting, the CEO turned to me and he was like, yeah, great. So we're going to send more emails next month though, right? Like it completely went over his head. It was such a frustrating experience because we have to encourage our stakeholders to look beyond email and send volume and really focus on open rate, click-through rate, but most importantly, the conversion numbers. My recommendation for you is that you do some small personalizations within your campaign. You set them up as A/B tests and you look at the difference in click-through rates and you'll see the benefits for yourself. You can demonstrate value with data and then use that to get a buy-in and a more personalized overall strategy. When you're sharing performance metrics, please start with down the funnel conversion first. Look at clicks and conversions and then pull in send volume as the end figure. It shouldn't be your top line. Okay, so yeah, it's hard to get buy-in. So what can you do? Even a little bit is going to make a huge difference. This is a test I ran at a previous role where that high send volume was king of our entire strategy. I pushed for a small percentage of our users to receive some personalized CTA copy. So we had see your credit cards as the CTA, see your credit cards, name, Indy, or see Indy's credit cards. The V2 personalized variant had some of the strongest conversion metrics, both on clicks and down the funnel credit card applications of any email we'd sent with such a small copy change. It wasn't a journey personalization, and it was far from this world where we weren't driven by send volume, but it paved the way for trying different kinds of personalizations in all our email marketing efforts. So along with getting stakeholder buy-in, some of the biggest barriers to email personalization are a lack of data and a lack of resource. And coming to Blockchain.com, I was definitely met with both of these. Not enough data. So you start with what you have. If you only have first name, you use that, you show the benefit, and then you use that to secure more resource to get more data. We're about to implement segment because we've shown such benefits of having more data in Iterable. I'll talk shortly about how I started our personalized approach by only knowing things like last email open and last wallet login. So really small elements. A lack of resource, personalization goes hand in hand with automation. So it's about figuring out how you can make your job easier by letting Iterable do the work of personalization to bring you higher conversion metrics. going to talk about some of the first things I did to move us away from this email the entire list thinking. And then I'll delve into some of the personalizations we're putting in place now with both in both our campaign content, but also in our journeys. So when I arrived at Blockchain.com, I was tasked with improving the open rate of our email campaigns. The first thing that I did is notice that we were sending to our entire email list about everything we had to say. The open rates were poor because we were emailing users who hadn't opened an email from us in months, let alone accessed any of our products. So I had a dramatic impact by just implementing some really basic targeting. But there are a few things I did that had a really direct impact on actual campaign performance, but also started the ball rolling on a more personalized email marketing strategy. So basic segmentation. The first thing I did was segment our users based on their email engagement and wallet login. This was the only piece of data I really had on them. I used this to decide who we should email and what about. So engaged users, that's the bottom left bucket, they were the ones we emailed most. They'd accessed our products and opened our email recently, and they're interested in the content we're serving them. The open rates and click-through rates are consistently higher than across all content types. My goal for the last quarter has been to grow that engaged bucket. So that's the number of users who've opened an email and accessed our primary product within the last 3 months. And we've seen great success in doing this. We've set up some automated campaigns to users based on the bucket they're in. So someone who's in the deeply disengaged bucket, the bottom red one, would receive emails that encourage them to engage with the product versus cold engaged users who are accessing our product but aren't getting value from our emails. We need to focus on serving content to them that is valuable over email. The bigger that engaged bucket is, it's growing in size, but the open rates and click-through rates are consistently better than all the other buckets. So although it's bigger, it's still better. This is a really level 1 user segmentation strategy that takes into account a very small amount of personalization to increase campaign performance and value to customers. Most importantly, though, it shifted the way of thinking away from let's just email everyone because we have something to say. With this segmentation, different user groups have different goals. So we don't want to be sending deeply disengaged users to non-in-product links. We're trying to get them to log back in. They haven't accessed our products in months. We need to focus on bringing them back in and not just getting them to open and click on emails. With churned users, the open rates in these campaigns are super poor compared to other buckets. So we want to put a lot of effort into the subject line and focus on only sending our absolute best performing content. Iterable workflows are a great way for us to segment and personalize so that we can send the whole campaign to different buckets of users with just small changes that personalize it and make it more suited to those audiences. So it doesn't mean sending completely different campaigns to all the users. Sometimes it's the same campaign, it's just slightly adapted. For example, every month we run this market outlook event where we give our users insight into the crypto space and industry. We invite the majority of our users to attend and a lot of them get values out of it, but we use workflows to segment the invite. If they've attended before or watched the recording, we go straight to come to our next event. If they've never opened an email about it before, we need to give them more context. Another example of this is our recent crypto taxes campaign. This was only relevant for US users in some states, and previously we would have sent our entire list all over the world an email telling them how their taxes could be exported from their app, but it was only relevant if they were in the US. So there's no point sending it to everyone. Segmentation is the first step of personalization, and it really helps drive the message that we're emailing because we have something relevant to tell them, not just because we have something to say. Okay, so like I said, we only want to talk to users who want to hear from us. But if you're like me and you don't really want to cut anyone from your list, employ personalization in your re-engagement efforts. So when users fall to the back of that disengaged bucket or they look like they're about to drop into churned, they trigger re-engagement flows. We call out that we miss them, that we know we haven't spoken in a while, that we want to talk to them. It's okay to be explicit. I encourage you to be upfront with your customers about the information you know about them. It makes the message feel more personal. Okay, so you've got a reason to email. They're not engaging with you and you want to bring them back in. Now, how can we improve this email with in-content personalization? We tried this with our re-engagement emails. So instead of, it's been a while since we've last seen you, we went with, it's been 322 days since we've last seen you. This increased open and click-through rates by as much as 4 percentage points in some variants. And it's just a small element of in-content personalization. Content personalization can be an easy win to bump up the click-through rate of campaigns. So I'm going to talk through some examples we've implemented and seen some success with, so you can take them back and try them for yourself. Okay, so a little bit goes a long way. I'm going to talk right now about these in-content personalizations, and some people might think that's too basic. I get it, I know, but I really encourage you to try it and have a go for yourself. Okay, so greeting the user by name. I'm sure you've seen this 100 times and know that it's going to increase your metrics, but it might be too small to even bother. Like, please just try. So we tried this in a recent engagement focused campaign, Crypto Security Awareness Week. It's where we're going to tell our users more about how to be safe around crypto. It was a very small element of personalization. So instead of hi indie, we would just have nothing or hi there. This led to like a 9% relative increase in click-through rate in such a simple email. It looks really small, but on an impact to effort ratio, this is definitely worth trying for yourself. Personalizing swap. So at blockchain.com, we know what kind of cryptocurrency you're interested in. So we're using that to personalize the content for our swap emails. Swap is a product that allows you to trade cryptocurrency within your wallet directly. So you won't, if you wanted if you had Bitcoin and you wanted Ethereum, you don't have to sell into dollars and then buy Ethereum. You can just swap directly. It's a few taps, it's super easy. So we use simple logic statements to change the email templates and copy to deliver slightly more personalized slightly more personalized message to the users. So a small amount of personalization that has a really big impact on user experience, as well as increasing the click-through rate. So instead of saying, hey, do you want to try swap? We can be like, hey, do you want to try swapping your Bitcoin for Ethereum? Another place we're using personalization at the moment is instant transfers. So this week, we are launching instant transfers to some of our US customers, and we're personalizing the message based on their previous behavior. So users who've used a wire transfer before, we're talking about how instant transfers makes it easier than before, versus users who've never bought before. It's not about an easier than before. They have no idea what the before was. Let's tell them the benefits now. Okay. So using personalization to reward super users is something I'm really excited about at the moment. Like, making beautiful emails is a great way to reward your customers and win them over. And you can make these beautiful emails an extension of your product with some really simple personalization. At the moment at blockchain.com, we are trying to get a lot of our users to take this gold verification status. It's basically like a super user. It means they verified their identity. This allows them access to things like higher buying rates and trading limits, but it also allows us to understand a lot more about them. Versus if you're using crypto in a non-custodial wallet, we have zero visibility on who you are, but we're also quite limited legally on what we can serve you in the financial services space. Not only is this a moment of joy for us to deliver the user a beautiful email that's like, congratulations, you've gone gold, that's awesome, and thank them for this favorable in-product action, we can use personalization to deliver them something special every time going forward. So we're going to add a little bit of logic into the snippet of our email headers. That means that going forward, users who are gold verified, all the subsequent emails they have from us will have a little VIP symbol on the top. This kind of reward for going pro is something that is employed by tech startups everywhere. So think of like Strava putting the little tag on your emoji, what's it called? On your profile picture, the little tag, like that's a reward for going pro. It's a cheap way usually to thank users and incentivize a desired action. I used to work at Monzo, and we had a full Monzo badge on your icon, just for switching your bank account to Monzo. Tandem, another challenger bank I worked at, we called our early adopters co-founders, and we rewarded them with specialist sleek card designs for their credit card and a whole bunch of in-product rewards. These were super rewarding for users, and people were motivated to get them, but especially in the case of Tandem, they were so resource and cost intensive to set up. If you're going to test if rewarding super users is something that encourages the action better, adding a small bit of sparkle to your emails, a little glitter on the top, a little GoPro, a little thumbs up, like, it is a great way to let your users know that you appreciate their adoption regularly, to incentivize them to go pro, but to test if that's actually going to increase your other conversion metrics. Okay, so there's a lot of ways you can do this, but what you really need to think about is what you know about your customers that no one else does. We are not the only people putting the first name in the subject line. My inbox is full of high indies. So what other elements of personalization can you pull into the subject line to grab your users' attention amongst a sea of others trying to personalize? Like, what do you know that no one else does? We'll give out our first names and emails pretty easily, but who else knows that you just bought your first bit of Ethereum? Or do you know that someone's buying vegan protein powder for the first time instead of whey? Put that in your subject line. Personalize with what makes you different. So I've jumped around a lot here, trying to cover both in-content personalization ideas and then also how you can serve your users better with a personalized journey. What I want you to take away from this is that a little goes a long way. Small efforts on the path of personalization can have big payback in conversion. So test these for yourself. Share the data and prove that these small personalizations have a big impact. And then use that to secure resource for the most important part that I want to iterate here: Personalization isn't just about improving click-through rates on your recent campaign. It is a way of working. It is the entire strategy, and you should continually strive to be more personalized in the way you communicate as well as how you say it. Okay, that's everything I have time for. If you have any further questions, you can find me at the speaker Q&A after this.